I want to ask you a question, and I want you to really genuinely think about it for a
Oh,
second.
yeah, please do.
What is the one thing you have always deeply wanted to do, but you somehow convinced yourself that you just didn't have the time for?
It is a heavy question, isn't it?
It really is. And the reason we are starting our deep dive with that question today is because we are looking at a story that confronts that exact feeling.
Head on?
Exactly. We are unpacking the incredibly moving, real-world story of a man named Michael
Right.
and a very specific hidden box of letters he found. Our mission today is to look at the true cost of deferred dreams, why we put our lives on hold, and how we can actually stop doing it.
It is a fascinating psychological journey, truly.
So let me set the scene for you, because you really need to feel where Michael is at in this moment.
Yeah, paint the picture.
He is standing alone in his late grandfather's house. He's cleaning it out.
It's always a surreal experience doing that.
It is. It's quiet. There is dust covering all the old shelves. He is exhausted, and he really just wants to finish up before the sun goes down.
Right.
But then he finds this small wooden box. It was tucked away in a dark corner of the attic.
Just completely hidden.
Yes, and inside are hundreds of these letters. The paper is yellowed, crisp with age, but they aren't bills. They aren't love letters to his grandmother.
Oh.
Every single envelope is addressed with the exact same phrase.
To my future self.
To my future self.
It gives you chills, honestly.
It really does.
Okay.
Because this isn't just a time capsule.
No, it is a ledger. It is this incredibly rare, real-time psychological ledger of a man's relationship with his own hopes over an entire lifetime.
Which brings us to the first part of the story, the anatomy of a fading dream.
Yes, because to understand why finding this box hit Michael so hard, you have to look at the chronological progression of these letters.
It is heartbreaking. The very first letter in the box, it establishes this baseline of pure, unfiltered hope.
He was, what, 12 years old?
Exactly 12. The handwriting is super neat, and it just says, I hope you never forget what you wanted when you were 12.
Wow.
Just that. One sentence.
It is such a beautiful distillation of childhood clarity. From a developmental standpoint, at 12, your brain hasn't fully integrated all the socioeconomic anxieties of the adult world.
The fear hasn't set in yet.
Right? The prefrontal cortex is still forming. So the boundaries of what is realistic just don't exist. The world is open. You aren't afraid of failing.
But that fear creeps in fast.
Oh, very fast.
Because Michael opens a letter from just a few years later. His grandfather is a teenager now, and he proudly writes, Today I told everyone I want to become a painter.
The ambition is there. The passion.
It is. But then, literally the very next entry says, Mom says artists don't make money.
And there it is.
Followed right away by this terrible internal conflict. He writes, maybe she's right, but painting makes me feel alive.
That is the turning point, that exact moment. We are seeing the external environment totally overstate his internal motivation.
It is hard to read.
It is. In behavioral economics, there is this concept called hyperbolic discounting, and it pairs up with loss aversion.
Break that down for us.
Basically, the human brain is wired by evolution to survive. It wants immediate security, food, shelter, social standing.
Sure.
So when you have to choose between a practical path that guarantees survival and the high-risk, abstract joy of being an artist, the brain panics. It defaults to safety.
Well, and I want to pause here, because I think it's important to push back on how we usually talk about this.
Go ahead.
It is so easy to cast the mother as the villain here, right? The dream crusher.
Oh, absolutely.
But, if you are growing up without any financial safety net, art does not buy groceries.
No, it doesn't.
So is it really a tragedy that he got a safe job? Didn't that exact pragmatism keep his family alive?
That is a very fair point, and it is a crucial distinction. His mother was not acting out of malice. She was terrified. She was protecting him.
Right.
The tragedy isn't that he took a safe job to pay the bills. The tragedy is the psychological mechanism that happened next. Yes. We don't see him write, I will work this job to fund my painting. We see the painting itself just slowly disappear from his mind.
You can physically see it in the box. The letters actually get shorter.
Yeah.
They shrink. Michael tracks it. It goes from, I found a safe job to, I'll paint on weekends.
The classic compromise.
And then it becomes, I'm too busy now. Then, maybe next year. And finally the letters just say, one day.
Just one day.
It is like the boiling frog phenomenon. The dream didn't die in some dramatic fiery explosion. It died by 1,000 tiny, entirely reasonable-sounding compromises.
That is such a good way to put it.
It feels like a background application on your phone. You don't even know it's running, but year after year, it just quietly drains your battery until everything goes dark.
And that is the danger of indefinite deferment. We tell ourselves we are just hitting pause.
But we aren't.
No, neurologically, your brain literally prunes the pathways you don't use. We treat the future like this magical sanctuary where we will suddenly have infinite free time and energy.
Which sets up the most devastating part of Michael's discovery.
The final letter.
The final letter. Michael is sitting on the floor. His hands are actually trembling. He unfolds this piece of paper. It was written just 3 months before his grandfather passed away.
And what does it say?
One sentence. I spent my whole life preparing to live, but I forgot to actually live.
God.
Yeah.
That is the ultimate collapse of that safe path we were just talking about.
Yeah.
He optimized everything for a future payoff that just never arrived.
And the really haunting thing is where Michael is standing when he reads this.
A house.
He looks around the room. The house is completely silent.
Yeah.
The walls are bare. There's no color. There are no paintings anywhere. Just old, dusty furniture.
The environment perfectly mirrored that final letter.
It did. He traded the messy, vibrant life of an artist for the safety of totally empty walls.
It is the physical evidence of an internal void. Decades of those tiny compromises materialized in a room.
You know, we hear the phrase carpe diem all the time, seize the day.
Oh, constantly.
It is printed on coffee mugs and bumper stickers. It is such a cultural cliche that it has lost all its meaning. We just roll our eyes.
Right, it's just noise.
But hearing that exact sentiment from a dying relative, while standing in a house totally devoid of the art they desperately wanted to create,
That hits differently.
it is like a physical blow. It upgrades Seize the Day from a cheap motivational poster into a literal survival guide.
Psychologists call that a massive pattern
A
interrupt.
pattern interrupt.
Yeah, most of us just run on cognitive autopilot. We have our routines, our excuses. Michael had his own excuses for why he wasn't doing the things he loved.
We all do.
Exactly. But standing there, holding that letter, his neural loop is violently shattered. He suddenly sees the exact destination of his own current life path.
He sees that if he doesn't change, he is going to be the one writing that last letter.
And so he has to respond.
And this is my favorite part of the story because it is so messy.
It really is.
In a movie, this would be the moment Michael dramatically quits his corporate job, throws his phone in a river, and moves to a cabin to write a symphony.
Right. The grand cinematic gesture.
But in reality, his response is so incredibly grounded.
Because cinematic gestures are usually just another form of escapism. Genuine change requires you to actually engage with your real life.
So Michael drives home that evening. He sits on his couch, he opens his laptop, and he searches for beginner guitar lessons.
Just right there.
Yes. Learning the guitar was his painting. It was the thing he had always wanted to do, but claimed he never had the time for.
He didn't wait for Monday.
No.
He didn't wait for New Year's resolution season. He just started on a random Tuesday night.
But we have to talk about how brutal the reality of starting actually is.
The friction of execution.
Yes, because the story highlights that the next few weeks were just miserable for him.
Oh, I'm sure.
His fingers physically hurt from the steel strings. He sounded awful. He wanted to quit constantly.
It is so humbling.
It is ridiculous, honestly. There is nothing glamorous about a 40-year-old man sitting on the edge of his bed at 9 at night, just aggressively misplaying smoke on the water while his family tries to sleep.
It is the suck phase.
The suck phase.
Yes. It is the brutal reality of neuroplasticity. As adults, we are so used to being competent.
Right. We know what we are doing at work.
Exactly. We use these well-worn neural pathways where we feel smart and capable, forcing your brain to build entirely new pathways, especially for a complex motor skill like playing an instrument. It takes a massive amount of metabolic energy.
It is exhausting.
It is physically and emotionally draining.
Yeah.
You are in a stage called conscious incompetence. You know exactly how bad you are.
I honestly think avoiding that exact discomfort is why we use I don't have time as an excuse.
Oh, 100%.
We aren't protecting our schedules. If we looked at our phone screen time, we would find the hours.
Easily.
We are protecting our pride. We are terrified of the ego-bruising pain of being a beginner.
Dropping your status is terrifying. Stepping back into the role of a novice requires complete vulnerability.
So what kept Michael going during those weeks?
The memory of his grandfather's letters.
The empty walls.
Exactly. When the pain of staying exactly the same finally outweighs the pain of changing, your behaving shifts.
The sore fingers were a small price to pay.
A tiny price compared to the permanent silence of a dreamless life.
And the outcome here is just so beautiful in its realism. Months later, Michael wasn't famous. He wasn't playing sold-out shows. He didn't make a dime off his guitar playing.
He didn't need to. The metric for success completely shifted.
It wasn't about external validation at all. The return on investment was just that every evening for 20 minutes he smiled.
He was present.
He felt alive.
He reconnected with that intrinsic motivation his grandfather lost when he was 12. But that kind of internal shift, it doesn't just stay contained in one person.
No, it bleeds out.
It creates a generational ripple effect.
This is where the story completely breaks my heart in the best way.
Tell them about the daughter.
So one afternoon, Michael is in the living room practicing, and his little daughter walks in.
Yeah.
She stands there just watching him play. She listens for a minute, and then she looks at him and asks, "Dad, can you teach me?"
It is so profound when you look at the family history here.
Two totally different generations colliding.
Exactly. Think about the grandfather's mother. Her parenting, however well-intentioned, was anchored in fear.
Artists don't make money.
Right. She modeled a worldview where joy has to be subordinate to security. She transferred her survival anxiety to her son, and it froze his potential.
A generational curse of practical misery.
Yes. But Michael is modeling something completely different. When his daughter asks to learn, he doesn't warn her about how hard it is or how impractical music is.
He is operating from inspiration, not fear.
He is showing her in real time that it is entirely safe and deeply worthwhile to do something just because it makes you feel alive.
It totally framed the whole story for me.
How so?
Well, it is so easy to look at that wooden box in the attic as an absolute tragedy.
A wasted life.
Right. But maybe that unlived dream wasn't entirely in vain. The grandfather endured a lifetime of that pragmatic misery, and he documented it so clearly that it became a catalyst.
An intervention across time.
Yes. His warning traveled through time. It reached Michael at the exact moment he needed it, which ensured that his great-granddaughter would never inherit that same fear.
The grandfather's sacrifice, whether he meant it to or not, purchased his family's psychological freedom.
Which brings us to the final scene of this deep dive.
The new letter.
Yes. After his daughter asks him to teach her, Michael sits down at his desk that night, and he writes his own letter.
But he breaks the pattern.
He does. He doesn't write it to his future self, and he doesn't hide it in a box in the attic for someone to find decades later.
No.
He writes it directly to his daughter to give to her right now.
He is operationalizing the wisdom.
Yeah.
He is making sure she doesn't have to wait a lifetime to learn this.
And he writes this incredibly simple directive. He says, "If you ever discover something that makes your heart feel alive, please don't wait. Start today."
Start today.
Yeah.
It demands absolute presence. It forces you to prioritize who you are right now over some hypothetical version of yourself in the future.
So if we look at everything we unpacked today, the empty house, the painful reality of being a beginner, the shifting of generations.
The core truth is clear.
It is. The biggest regret in life isn't failing at something new.
No. Failing means you tried. It means you're in the arena.
The biggest risk is simply believing we have more time.
We spend so much energy trying to avoid the risk of failure, and we completely blind ourselves to the absolute certainty of regret if we do nothing.
The safe path usually carries the highest hidden tax.
Always.
So, to you listening right now, as we close out this conversation, I want to leave you with a quiet thought. Just something to let settle in your mind tonight.
Take your time with it.
If someone were to walk into your home right now, and they found a hidden box of your letters to your future self,
What would they say?
what would your most recent letter say? Would it say, "I'm just too busy"? Would it be filled with all these brilliant plans for next year?
Or someday.
Right. And more importantly, what is the guitar or the paintbrush that you need to pick up tonight just for 20 minutes so you can rewrite how your final letter ends?